are live on Mograph TV.
What's up? What's up, Grant?
Grant, yes.
Put out that bat signal, though.
I am going to be sneezing this entire show, and I apologize. Oh. Here we go.
All right, who's here? Who's coming in? Grant. Not G-Rant. Not other Grant. But
Regular Grant.
But
Is it Grant Day today?
oh, it's Grant Day.
It is.
Yeah.
I know Grant very well.
He's the man.
All right. How we looking? How we sounding? How we feeling? Everything is good. Everything's running.
I've been better.
Well, you sound crisp, and that's all that matters. Yeah. Crisp sniffles.
All right.
The show must go on.
Yes, indeed. All right.
I will try and mute myself when I sneeze and or blow my nose. Oh.
All right. Got me a Monster Energy drink.
Ready to go.
That's right. Oh, I should mute my speakers in the room. That's probably a good idea. There we go.
What's up, Thomas?
Thomas. The Collier Master.
Oh, every time I talk or like breathe, it just tickles my nose.
That's a tough place to be.
See, it's stupid because I took an allergy pill so that like my throat wouldn't feel bad, and now my throat feels fine, but I'm just like snotty and sneezy, and it's like, all right, which one should I shouldn't have taken the allergy pill.
Yeah. I went to New York like a couple months ago, and I was meeting a couple studios, and I had like a cold when I went there, and a lot of the studios were still a bit like worried about COVID. So I didn't have COVID, but I took so many drugs before I got there just to like try to be normal. And I was like, don't cough.
That's funny.
I luckily didn't.
And when you tell yourself not to cough, that like makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah,
Right,
you want to. You want to. Can't fight it. Yeah.
All right, Dave, let's get into the show. Sorry.
All right, yeah, let's do this. All right, here we go. What's up, and welcome to another Mograph Mocast. I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt, and joining us today is a super talented Mr. Nick Lyons.
Hey, guys.
And Mograph is a supplement to our site, mograph.com, which is a motion graphics tutorial site with tutorials, plugins, podcasts, and other Mograph stuff. And on the show, we talk about everything ranging from motion graphics to Cinema 4D, After Effects plugins, render engines, doing business, doing taxes, being a contractor, or working for the man. You can email us info@mograph.com. Let us know what you think about the show. Questions, comments, concerns, queries, grievances, artist suggestions, show topic ideas. We're on youtube.com/mograph and, of course, mograph.com. If you want to check out the schedule and things, go to mograph.com/live. You can see all the info there. You could also turn on Mograph TV, which is mograph.com/TV, and you can watch Mograph TV 24/7. All the
24/7.
Mographs. Turn it on, rip the knob off.
If you don't get enough of it while at work, you can enjoy it at home.
That's right. Nick says he watches Mograph TV, so there's
It's
one
all-
person.
It's all I watch, actually. 24/7. Until it stops, I won't stop.
Right?
All right. This particular, it's going pretty well. Like, you know, if the stream goes down, I'll turn it back on. But this one's been going since June 29th. Knock on wood, this one hasn't crashed.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Got some new content we're putting in there pretty soon. You'll probably see some of the replays of some of the recent events, like Siggraph, which we'll talk about in a second, by the way. The Siggraph and maybe some like VFX and chill. We're gonna have some new commercial segments and like new like little, you know, those little Mograph nugs, those little bumpers. We got a huge amount of those coming down the pipe, and so yeah, that's gonna be cool. And Siggraph was great, amazing presentations.
So good.
So good. We managed to broadcast in 4K which I think people really liked that, because I'm telling you, you play this back on full screen on your computer, and it's like you're on that person's computer.
Yeah.
So it's
how
nice.
was the bandwidth like?
It was incredible.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
Vancouver.
Yeah, which is why we could do 4K. We can't always do that. We had a pretty decent line, but some people were like, "How are you even getting a live stream out at all? We can't even get a live stream out." And it's like, well,
really?
You can't live stream over Wi-Fi. You have to be wired in, and you got to do it right.
Yeah.
But all of that worked. It was really cool. Some great presentations. There were some previews of some things that a couple people presented. You know, it was really funny because Paul, I think Ellie showed something off, and Paul was like, "Oh, you really weren't supposed to show this," you know, and he was joking, but she didn't know he was gonna joke about that, and she really thought she was in trouble for a second. It's like, no, that was planned. That was a planned preview.
He told her right after that, right? Because I saw the fear in her face.
Oh yeah.
On the live stream.
Yeah, you even texted me. You're like, "Did she not know she couldn't show that?" And it's like, no, that was all planned, but she didn't know. Apparently, he was gonna joke about it. Some really cool stuff that Noseman showed off. If you go to the very last presentation and look at that too. But no idea when anything is coming. Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't ask. I don't ask because I don't want to know.
Yeah, you don't want to accidentally spill something.
Right, exactly. That's why I don't do the beta. I mean, I don't do the beta because I would just neglect it. But but also like I like to be able to speculate, like you say all the time.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was cool. New friends, old friends. It was a little bit different, but it's cool that Siggraph is still going. After all of this.
How was the crowd? Was it like big like it normally is, or medium sized like it normally is? Was there less vendors?
It was okay.
Otoy there?
Otoy was not there. You know, I think what happened is like Maxon did not bring the gigantic booth from NAB, and just because I think that I think everybody in general coming to Siggraph was just a little shy about like really how much to put into this, because there was like no idea how many people were really coming back, and you know, plus, you know, Siggraph tried to get going again a couple times and canceled, and so I think it's funny. I think at the last minute a lot of big vendors showed up out of the blue.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, like Meta was there. There were some big booths just all of a sudden that came out of nowhere, I think, and even Blender was there.
Did you know Blender was free?
What? I don't know how they paid their employees, but you know.
Right.
I saw EJ's post.
Donations. Yeah.
That was good. Yeah.
This booth was free.
Yeah.
Let's go play pranks on them.
Yeah.
So there was that. That's pretty much it. We just had a great time catching up with some people that we hadn't seen in a while, and you know, especially people from Vancouver. Went to some cool restaurants and hung out and stuff, and it's a little more laid back than NAB. It's like as soon as you finish the day, you go direct to a party, or no, you go direct to a dinner, then you go direct to a party and a bar and all the things, and you're out till 4 a.m. It's just like
and then repeat for 4 more days.
Right. And you're just worn down, and it's just was great to nerd out and all of that, and I think that it will come back, you know, over time. It's gonna get bigger again. That's what it feels like to me. I think that we just needed this one to kind of put the feelers out and just see, you know, what is everybody doing, what's the crowd like, what's, you know, and I don't know where it's gonna be next time. I'm assuming it's gonna flop back to LA, but
I would think
you never know. I don't really know. I'm sure they're planning it already, but I haven't really looked to see.
Yeah.
Let's see. Anything else on the list? No. The next thing on the list, Columbus Society of Communicating Arts. Matt and I will be speaking on Thursday. So if you are in Columbus, come and say hi.
Please do.
There's going to be like a little mixer thing, and then we're going to chat, mostly taking questions and things, but we're going to have like a small presentation on, like Matt's going to talk about NFTs. I'm going to talk about AI and, how we're
talk about the industry in general, where we see the future of it going and stuff like that. Yeah.
Exactly. And speaking of the industry in general and where it's going, that is what Half-Res is about as well.
Yes.
We are proud sponsors of Half-Res. Half-Res is what is the date? We should look up the date. It's in Chicago, obviously.
I know this. Yeah, it's September
9th. 9/9/22.
It's on a Friday.
Yeah. So make sure you get your tickets to that. Come out. You can generally get a cheap ticket out to Chicago on like Southwest or something. Just come for a day and let's bring the community event stuff back. Like come join us. Let's hang out and chat. But speaking of the industry changing,
Mograph is dead. All praise Mograph.
Yes, long live Mograph. That's the theme. Mograph is dead. I love how we're sponsoring. Mograph is sponsoring, and the theme is Mograph is dead. But that's kind of the joke, right? It's like long live Mograph, because there's these new subsets of the industry. There's all this other stuff going on, like NFTs and AI.
Not the same Mograph anymore.
Exactly, not your mother's Mograph.
No.
It's interesting to see all of this going on, because like even at Siggraph you see the new up and comers coming up through the industry, and that's never happened before because there was no industry before. So we're seeing these generations come in for the first time. So very interesting, and there's going to be some talks on that. The speakers at Half-Res, Gavin Shapiro, Clinton Jones. You got Colin Likes. You got Jonathan Winbush. You got Joey Kornman. Like, that is killer right there. That is a killer lineup. Loving that. So, yeah, everybody come out, join us. It's going to be a really fun time. And it's going to be a great way to catch up with people if you haven't been to an event in a while. So, do it. Next thing on the list before we get to Nick is I guess camp. I don't know if there are updates right now. Are there?
Okay. So the only update that I have is we've had a few people who have said that they can't come. So if you're on the wait list, make sure and check your emails, because keep an eye on your emails. Because we may be going through that list and like sending a few emails out saying, hey, we've got some tickets available. There may be, we've got to go through it like on our normal camp meeting day and double check everything, but there may be a few tickets available. So yeah, we're just jamming through and getting everything ready. We are 5 weeks away from camp. And is it 5 weeks or is it?
It's less than 5 now.
4 weeks.
Yeah, it's 4 weeks.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh, it is a month away.
So we've got a lot to do in that front. If you are like, for example, Nicole Ruggiero, she can't come. So I'm kind of bummed about that. I was looking forward to catching up, but she actually posted. She's like
1 month away.
From today. She's selling hers on Twitter. Or she was selling hers on Twitter. If you're in a situation where you don't want to try and find somebody to sell that ticket to, however, I don't think you'll have a problem with that, you can always contact us, and we will do a buyback, and we will easily find somebody on that wait list to give it to. That's up to you. I know there's people that have been waiting on the wait list that would really like the ticket, so that's an easy way to find someone. But if you're trying to turn a profit, go
put
for
it up on StubHub, right?
Yeah.
There's any camp tickets on StubHub.
Yeah.
Look that up.
But why don't you give us the lowdown on the sponsors, and then we'll get into the show.
Absolutely. Big shout out to our sponsors. First up, Otoy, our global sponsor. We appreciate them. Otoy is presenting Camp Mograph. We're super excited to have them on board. Also, our village sponsors, Maxon and Video Copilot, and our gold sponsor, Grayscale Gorilla. So big shout out to all of them. They help keep ticket prices down. And we got some crazy cool swag this year. We are super excited about it for everyone to get. If you're coming to camp, make sure and leave a little bit of extra room for your swag. So
yes, and for the love of God, make sure that you read your emails it is not an easy place to get to. You're not just going to hop in a 5-minute Uber. And if you don't know that already, you should read your emails and make sure.
It's a $75 Uber. So just be prepared, you know.
And the way you can be prepared is by checking your emails, going to the camp portal, and signing up for a shuttle.
Yep.
So you don't have to pay $75.
There you go.
Yeah. So definitely make sure you do that. Make sure you got your flight booked. I'm looking at you, EJ.
EJ doesn't have his flight booked?
I don't believe so.
Oh my gosh.
Shams doesn't have her flight booked. And she's going somewhere in Virginia after that. I'm like, you better get your ticket.
Jeez.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Nick and I, our tickets to Vancouver were like $5,500.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Prices of flights. If you have not bought, we're a month out. You're in bad territory if you don't buy it today. So
it's insane.
Yeah. So that is it for that. So Nick, let's talk to you. We have not caught up in a long time.
Yeah. I think it was
Siggraph
LA was the last time we hung out or something.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
I think it was like 2017.
Yeah,
I believe so.
Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's been so long. Yeah, I know. And we had that little conversation right after my talk, and
yeah,
and it just stuck in my head, and I was like, I got to talk to these guys again.
Yeah.
Talk to him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while, and so we'll start at the beginning, and for people who haven't met you before, just give everybody an idea of what you do, and then let's go into your school or not school or background and everything, and tell everybody who you are.
Yeah. So I am from California originally, and I went to Savannah, Georgia, Savannah College of Art and Design, with
SCAD.
Good old SCAD. Yeah. So I know Sakani went there. He was on the show a few days ago. He and I went to school together, and quite a few other people. And then I went to LA and worked at Blur Studio for 2 years, and kind of got cut my teeth in the industry at Blur, and which was an awesome place to start. It was right after Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, so it was really exciting to kind of start out there, and it was a total dream. And then I wanted to move to the UK for a little bit, and I thought, I'll just be there for a year, but I'm still here now. So I worked at Territory for 4 years, Territory Studio.
With Pedro.
What made you want to move there?
I liked LA a lot, but I just wanted to travel a little bit. I was 27 or 28 at the time. Just a little sparkle in my eye and a dream in my heart. And I just wanted to travel for a little bit, and I was like, I can always come back. My family's in California, and I thought, I'd come back eventually. And I just really liked it out here. I like the, as you're talking about the flights, like the flights were really cheap at the time, going all around Europe. Like you can go all over the place for like $30 to $50, like pretty quick flight anywhere from London. Nice. And Territory was great. It was a really good studio. I was their first person that they sponsored there, so it was
interesting.
Yeah, it was a good experience. So David and Nick took a bit of a gamble, because sponsoring people is, in the States, like if you know anyone that's on a green card, it's like a total pain, or a visa. And but it's equally as difficult here, so it was good. But I worked there for 4 years as like a 3D motion designer, doing like film and installation and kind of experiential work. And since then, I went freelance. I've been freelance for I think almost 3 years now, which is crazy because it feels like yesterday. It's weird how freelance just seems to go by so fast for some reason. But I've been freelancing since then. I was in London when the lockdown hit and COVID hit and everything, and I was working at a studio that was doing work on Guns N' Roses, and we were like, oh wow, the government's coming onto the TV, and they're like, oh, it's probably, there's like this thing going around, like some guy came back from the Alps with like a cough in Kent, and he's like, it's not a big deal, everything's gonna be fine. And I was like, okay, this is a bit weird. And then, it started spreading. And then a couple girls at the office were starting to cough, and they were starting to say, like the British have a similar mindset as Americans when it comes to getting sick. Is like you go to work because you're like, I want to show that I'm like good at what I do. I'm invested. Right. And the British do the exact same thing. So the whole office was sick. I still haven't got it, which is surprising, but. But since then, my wife and I moved out to Cornwall, which is like 5 hours outside of London, and we're kind of living the classic post-COVID life. Got a dog, bought a house.
Nice.
About 4 miles from the ocean. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's turned out really well, and I kind of have my career to thank for that. It's good that we're in like a good place to move, but a few years earlier it might have been a bit more difficult, I think, if I was a bit more junior, but yeah, it worked out pretty well, thankfully.
What's some of the work that you've been doing recently?
I've been I pivoted.
If you can talk about it at all. I mean, I understand how that goes.
It's in this manila envelope right here. It's confidential, but no.
That doesn't matter these days, so.
You're right. I know. What's an NDA? I don't know. No, but I worked. So when lockdown hit, the whole Guns N' Roses thing kind of went bottoms up because all the concerts were canceled. So I started reaching out to some old friends and clients in the States, and I hooked up with Possible in LA, and which people Mike was working at for pretty much Permalance, and because I really wanted to get into kind of like live visuals and do, just kind of, I really love music at the same time. So it's really cool. I work with them quite a lot. They're one of the clients I work with the most. So they work on like Justin Bieber and Lady Gaga and Kanye and stuff like that. And then when I'm not doing that, I work with some studios doing like museum kind of experiential work and like large format LED display type work. And I find a lot of that type of stuff. So it's cool. It's really like you can be pretty creative, and it's quite a fun.
I do a lot of LED stuff, and I really do like it. When of course, some of it can be simple, right? When you're doing like LED stuff, if it's just kind of an afterthought kind of behind someone, but it can be really fun, and it can be really rewarding because doing like integrated set design and especially if it's like an artist that you like, it makes it even better. And it's very rewarding because you'll see it in concert, or you'll see a YouTube video, or you'll see like what a TV show it was on or something, and it's kind of rewarding to see it all come together, because from your side, you're just sitting in front of the computer screen. You don't get to see it done, most of the time, even when you're working on something for somebody else, you're like, oh, I don't. My mom's like, did you watch that on TV? I'm like, I don't know. I don't.
I know. I finished the job. They're happy with it. That's kind of all that matters. But yeah, it is funny how that works. I find working with live graphics to be it's cool because I've always I love like motion graphics and animation, but I like seeing it on different in different venues. I find that you're scrolling on Instagram and Twitter and Vimeo, and it's so throwaway now. Like there's just so much stuff, and a lot of it's really good, and people spend a lot of time. But when you're out there, outside, and something is being projected on a surface, or you're at an event and it's in the background, like it really elevates the performance, and people will pay attention to it. But I just don't find personally, when I'm seeing stuff on Instagram, unless it's really shocking, if it's something like Beeple's doing, it's really crazy, then I'll stop. But even if it's some beautiful, really photorealistic looking animation, you just don't pause as much for it. So it's so that's why I like that, I think, just because you have it on your screen, like you were saying, and you see it, but then you go see it in real life, and it's a whole nother way of viewing it, and it's like it serves like a purpose and a broader scheme, I guess, instead of just being like a commercial or a piece in a film or something. But yeah, so I've really enjoyed that type of work. So
yeah, it's funny. There was an Instagram post I saw the other day, just random meme or something, and it's like, oh man, good thing I worked on this for 18 hours and got it all done and uploaded it to Instagram so somebody can watch it for 5 seconds and scroll past it.
Yeah, I know.
It's like so rewarding to see that stuff in real life. Like people pay more attention to it, because it's more of an art piece instead of just some random Insta post. So,
I think it kind of I think that kind of teaches you a bit about like when you post stuff on Instagram. Like I'm not like on social media like a load, but I find that what I try to do is I try to make stuff. If I make stuff, I make it for myself. And so when I put it out there, it was like a cathartic experience making it, and I enjoyed making it. Yeah. But if you're trying to like connect with a lot of people, it's a lot more pressure you put on yourself, and it's very difficult. So I find it, if you're really into something, make it and then put it out there. But if you're just trying to get followers, it must be really mentally draining, to do something like that. So
you got to be doing it every single day.
Yeah. I'm impressed by the people who do it. I go on Twitter. I'm probably more of a lurker than I am like a poster on a lot of these things. Yeah. But it's cool just to see. But like people like Motion Punk, like Thanu, like amazing work. Like he constantly posts updates, has like a Patreon account. I'm in total awe of like people like him that can like dedicate that amount of time to it. And and it shows. Like his work's amazing. So but yeah, how do you guys find it generally? Do you find like with social media, how do you regulate it, or do you not?
I don't post a lot on social media, and I don't know, I've been burned so bad like on social media where you say something wrong or it's misconstrued or something, and then you just get like harassed for it, and it's like, okay, you kind of like, you scared me, so I am now too scared to post on social media because I don't know what's okay and what's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to follow the trends too. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like first of all, you've got to decide. I want to say Haley was talking about this on the show. You have to decide what your platform is. First of all, you might be posting on one of the platforms, but what is your platform, right? Yeah. So for me, that platform is either TikTok or Instagram Reels.
Yeah.
So like I have just kind of started putting some work out there on my own account, like some of my art and stuff, and nobody looks at the stills, nobody looks at the videos, they only look at the reels. You might get some likes and whatnot, but the reels are where it's at. The TikToks are where it's at. And I think that reels, I mean, you could do great. I mean, people are doing awesome on TikTok with art content. Mm-hmm. But I feel that there's a larger niche of artists on Instagram in the first place, because that's what they were there for. Therefore, the reels that have to do with motion graphics are really big. So my personal advice is concentrate almost all of your effort into reels / TikToks. Yeah. 9:16 content. Crop it. Do whatever you gotta do.
Whenever I talk to someone and they, we do the, what's your go-to app or whatever, and people say Instagram, that was always that always confused me, because like Instagram by itself is actually a very boring app. Yeah. Just seeing pictures and stuff. It was cool back in the day to be able to see so I have a personal account, which I follow a few people, and I have a artist account where I follow a bunch of people, but it all just becomes noise. It becomes the same thing. It was people's stories, that the only reason I really like Instagram, or I like it at all, is because of stories. I like seeing what's going on, and I like that those stories go away and you can do the same thing, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Stories
not like a permanent fixture for the rest of your life that, I took a picture of my sandwich or something like that, you know?
Stories are where you put like the stuff that you're working on that day. Yeah. Like just a little clip. Oh, I'm just working on this thing, right? Reels are where you put the final product, or where you put like a breakdown of it or something else. But the thing about Reels is they go to everyone, not just your followers. And that is what's so important. You're going to pull in so many followers by doing a Reel. I'm telling you, I've barely posted anything so far. And the first 3 Reels I posted got 2,500 views in the first hour. Now Matt says these are fake. He says they're not real people. But if you go look at the likes,
Instagram's numbers are inflated. You know.
You're listening to Elon Musk a bit too much, then, huh?
I just know how it works. You know? Yeah. And I know how many Instagram accounts I have.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I've gotten follows. I mean, they're real people. I can tell you that. You know.
I don't know about you guys, but I did start tagging some NFT stuff. I hadn't like made any, but I started tagging stuff as NFT, and I've gotten like loads of these accounts where they're like women in a picture and they're talking about Bitcoin or like Ethereum or something, and they're usually talking about how they love God or something like that as well in them.
I have noticed like when I started tagging stuff as NFTs, you know, or whatever, I have noticed a significant influx in spam messages and stuff like that. It's almost like if you tag your stuff as NFT, you are just asking to be hacked.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, and you will get spam, but also, even though there's spam, it does increase your engagement.
Yeah.
You have to look at it that way. You can actually, and you can take advantage of it by anything that they're saying on Instagram. There is a setting in Instagram where you can go in and you can tell it to mute things with certain phrases and things. So that activity still comes in. It still counts in the algorithm as activity and likes and whatever, but it won't show up on the actual thing. So, you know.
Yeah, I think there was like a point when NFTs and crypto were kind of at their highest, and a couple notable guys got their accounts hacked, and since then I've basically installed like authenticators for all my.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's annoying, but it's so worth it.
It's
to know
necessary.
That, you can kind of relax a little bit.
Totally. Yeah, you have to be really, really vigilant with all that kind of stuff these days. I mean, especially if you're advertising it on, social, people will just jump all over it. So yeah, it's.
And Impulse asks, can you post a reel without it showing up on your regular feed? Yes. When you post it, it asks if you want it to insert into the feed. The other thing, and I'm unsure if this is, because I haven't tried it, I don't know if this is the same thing or not, but when you post it, you say put it into the feed, yes or no. I always put yes. I don't mind if people see what I put in their feed, but you can go to your regular profile grid and you can take them out of the profile grid, because you might have posted the regular version, 16 by 9, a square version, maybe an album or something, and you don't want it to be duplicate. You can take it out of your profile grid. So you can curate it in such a way to where you have a separation, but definitely, like, if you want views, do Instagram Reels, like today, do it. Like,
I heard they pay you on TikTok after you get a certain amount of followers.
Once you get a certain amount of followers, you can join the TikTok Creator Fund.
Yeah.
But the thing with TikTok Creator Fund is you get paid so much less than you do, say, like through YouTube or something like that.
Yeah.
But the outreach is pretty massive on TikTok, isn't it?
It can be. I mean, the Mograph account.
You put something out there, they know how to get people to stay on, because I've noticed this with a lot of creators. You have to be continually posting stuff like several times a day. And what they do is your first one, they'll push out to a lot of people in order to get a lot of hits and get you that dopamine in your brain that says, oh, I need to post more. This is a great place. I went viral. I need that. I need that itch.
Yeah. But the trick is,
And then you'll start posting, and you won't be getting as many, likes or seen as much,
You just post it again. And that's the trick. If it doesn't gain that traction in the first hour, delete it, post it again. Same thing applies with Instagram. I've done this. I did this with something a few weeks ago. It got a couple views. It's like it didn't make it out, because I don't know if Instagram does it this way, but TikTok does it this way. It sends it out to your followers first. That's the inner ring. Then it sends it out to related topics, like people who might find an interest in it, and then if that's popular, it goes out even further. And that's how something that like might be a niche thing, if it has the potential for the general public to enjoy it, like if it's some sort of cool animation that non-mographers would like it has potential to go out that way. So if it doesn't hit those things right away and the algorithm doesn't pick it up, delete it, do it again. I kid you not.
I've found many times where I will see a post and I'll go to the comments to either see more or whatever, and Dave has already commented on it because, he saw that post ahead of time, and then TikTok knew that me and Dave are friends and we communicate a lot, so it's like let's throw it over to him because he'll probably like it too.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like, you have to play, and that's why I say you got to pick a platform. You can't game all the platforms, right? Like if you're an NFT
unless you're
person,
doing that
you're on Twitter
24/7.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it would be it'd be very difficult to do. And I mean, so like the idea, I guess, with like social media is that you post a lot and then you gain followers, but also it can lead to work. But I found the best one so far for me has been LinkedIn. You are not the first person to say that.
A lot of people are saying
in the past few months. A lot of people are saying LinkedIn, and it's like, that's really surprising. I wonder, and this is my thought. My thought is that LinkedIn has been so shitty over the past 10 years for us that there's so few of us using it that it's like the few who are is like.
Oh yeah, like
all the jobs.
I wouldn't say I post very regularly at all, but it's when I do post, I get messages, just even if it's like, hey, this is some work that I did. I get people reaching out, and it's good. It's kind of what you want it's what you want to happen when you're starting to like post your work. You want people to come by and be like, hey, it'd be great to work with you. Even if you don't have time, or you're kind of if your plate is full, it's good to kind of have that. And I think Twitter seems to be, at least in my experience, great for meeting other artists. And Instagram, I just find difficult to get any traction now. I think I came to the game too late. So
I hate Twitter. I hate it more than anything. To me, it is the most toxic social media platform out there.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like, you go to Twitter to harass people,
Right. It's like my main Twitter account. I just use it to complain to other businesses that their business sucks.
Totally. Yeah. I always wonder about that, because like when I was back in London, I would book train. Well, I still do. I book train tickets on Twitter, because you have to book a bike reservation on there. So I'd be like,
really?
I just got back from Siggraph, and people are probably following me for like motion graphics content, and here I am like booking trains and complaining to like people. You kind of like you think to yourself, am I like, should I have another account for this or something?
Right.
But yeah, it's true. Like, Twitter does have that kind of culture a bit. I mean, LinkedIn's probably obviously the most professional, but Twitter, Twitter, it's interesting conversations I see sometimes, but it obviously can be quite toxic as well. So.
But on Twitter, you'll put a 16:9 version of something. You might put your YouTube video up. Like, say you did a tutorial or you did a time lapse or something. You put the time lapse on there. I don't feel that TikTok is the place for a time lapse or Reels unless you're doing it a certain way. Like, if you post like a 2-minute time lapse of something on TikTok, you're not going to get the traction you want. Nobody's going to watch it for 2 minutes on TikTok. They might watch it on YouTube. You know, but they're not going to watch it on TikTok. You got to combine it with something. You got to have a narrative. You got to show part of it. Then you've got to have a hook. Like, it is all about keeping that attention and making people watch something even multiple times.
Yeah.
You know?
If I see TikTok, if I see someone start to explain something and the TikTok bar is going really slow down at the bottom, I'm like,
Right.
I don't have time for this. I'm out. You know?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if the payoff is good. You know, the payoff's got to
Yeah.
be great if I'm going to invest that amount of time.
And there's
That's why I haven't watched Game of Thrones.
and the old experiment that that was done a while back is that if you do, they did an experiment to see how long people's attention spans were, right? And they would do a series of 1-minute videos and have people watch that, like a whole bunch of videos that were 1 minute long. But on some of them, they put the status bar at the bottom to move as if it were a 30-second clip. And the people with the 30-second clip status bar on the bottom were more likely to watch the whole thing than the 1 minute people. They wouldn't or skip ahead. You know, so it's that attention thing. It's not the same on every platform. So if you're going to go in that platform, you've got to take it like that. You've got to come up with a plan. You've got to look at other TikToks. You've got to take a TikTok and say, how could I do that viral TikTok except apply it to motion graphics and really think it out. And when you start a TikTok, it's like, hey, I'm going to tell you this really cool thing. You're not going to believe what this is. But first, and then you go into a thing. Oh, and then number 2. And then you go into the second part, like you're just constantly hooking and grabbing, and then you're creating loop points, and you're playing the system, and you got to be ready for that.
It's the classic 5 simple tricks routine, or one simple trick. Yeah. Every single video could do that, and it
can't
still
believe
catches
how
me.
this one simple thing changed my life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You won't believe what happened next.
Yeah, it still works.
Wait till the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
They always say that on the Instagram reels, and I out of spite I sometimes just switch the video,
but that's it. They want you to stay to the end because they need you to. The likes don't matter. The likes do not matter. It's all about how much time it's been watched. That's what it is. If you can't get them to go to the end, it's not gonna. They're not gonna send it to the next circle of people to watch it, and that's why they're like, just wait before you go. Don't flip yet. There's even like TikToks like that. Like, don't scroll yet. Hold on. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
So, anyway, back to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, it's good. It's interesting. I talk about this quite a lot with my family here as well. So.
I was gonna ask you kind of about your process a little bit. First of all, we should bring up your Instagram. We should check out your Instagram.
Yeah.
And
mine's.
How was it? Let me ask you this, because this was something that I was curious about when we were talking earlier. How was it moving from like a big studio like Territory into the freelance life? Like, did you worry or feel like, as myself as a freelancer, I'm not going to be able to get jobs that are as high quality or, whatever, as some of the company I was previously working for? Am I going to have to go back to explainer videos? You know what I'm saying?
I've been there. I didn't really worry about it too much because I think I left on really good terms, and most of my friends here are kind of in the film, like futuristic UI kind of scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just wanted to check out what else was out there, because I think UI, I really enjoyed kind of creating it for the few years that I was there. But I think it's nice to have a bit of variety sometimes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of get back into like texturing and lighting and modeling a bit more, and kind of getting into a bit more like real time, like a bit more Unreal. And I didn't worry about it too much because I knew so many other freelancers by that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. And like Territory we'd have like on a big film project, we'd have like 30 freelancers on the floor, and you'd talk to them and they'd be like, oh, we're booked all the time. So you hear that enough, and then it kind of gives you the confidence.
I think that's interesting that studios do that. That they'll just keep someone, like, where's the incentive to keep a freelancer on basically all year long at their day rate, versus just hiring them as an employee. You know, is it really more cost effective to freelance them? You know,
I think it's mostly studios. I don't know how it is in the States. I think it might be similar, but the freelance market is so strong that a lot of people won't go full time because they'll make more freelancing instead of full time. So it depends, like your situation. Like I would always recommend going in-house learning, like you're in your junior and kind of like middleweight years. But it's good, I think. It depends what you want. Like Territory did amazing work, and they do some of the they don't do much. There's not many people who do what they do, so it's a place for some people for their whole career. But I think I wanted to get out of London and to, you know, just have some like green fields and some sheep surrounding my house. And I think going freelance and most importantly, the pandemic and working from home is kind of really transformed that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just our industry is so flexible now for the most part.
Absolutely.
So I'm working with studios all over the world, which is really nice. And there's not there's a bit of hesitance, I think, when you're like 8 hours ahead. So when I work with LA studios, they're kind of like, oh, we don't know how to do that yet. But then you work with them for a couple weeks, you show them that you're honest, you have good communication skills, and they keep bringing you back, which is good.
I really enjoy, especially with stuff like that, like working with, we worked with Raid Zero, and he's in London and stuff like that. And it was amazing. Like he would start working before we were even up, and get a bunch of the work done. And then it's like, okay, cool. We got a good head start on the day.
Yeah, no, it's that's how I kind of frame it. So I generally, I'll try to lean more towards like New York studios because I get to talk to them a bit more during the day.
Yeah.
But you basically have like a little plate of like goodies for them when they wake up in the morning,
Yeah. I like the way that. Yeah. That's a good
So and they always like that. And then there's a bit of overlap time where they can give you feedback and you can kind of fix anything you need to. I think like the biggest downside, which I'm slowly ironing out after leaving London, is like working in a studio. You get lots of social time. A lot of water cooler, water cooler chat. Yeah. So I do miss that, and I miss like a lot of the people that are in London, or a lot of them left as well. But that is kind of like will be the interesting thing about how people, just all over the world kind of figure out how this work from home thing works, because, there is like the ability to like get a shared office space and stuff. But, when you're used to working around people who really know what they're doing and are really good, like you kind of like that, like energy about it. So if I was working out here, I could be anyone. Could be some people making T-shirts or making bead jewelry or something. You just don't know. I mean, so yeah, it was nerve-wracking at first, but with freelance, I found that I'm very organized. So I had like a document of studios that I created. I was creating basically over my time at Territory, because I knew eventually I may want to go freelance.
Yeah.
And then once I went freelance, I just reached out to most of them and just started getting work. And then you do a good job and they bring you back, and then you just kind of figure out like what's the type of work that I like doing. Because I kind of I had a lot of opportunities to work in kind of like do user interface work after that as well, and I did do some of that. But then I was like, well, maybe I'll try some of this. Maybe I'll try some, like photoreal CG, or maybe I'll try some like live action work or museum work. And then I started meeting these other clients and we worked really well together. So now I'm doing that. So it's a bit of, when you're freelance, it's a bit of it's an interesting place because you can kind of pivot almost whenever you want.
Yeah.
You just need to have, I guess, some relevant work to show a studio or to show
Right,
a potential
right.
client, and or at least be persuasive enough, if you have good communication skills. And I think that's that's the fun part about it. You're kind of the master of your own schedule. And I know, like Chris Do talks about, when you're a freelancer, you're basically you're a small business owner, like you own your own business. And I'm trying to think about it. Yeah, I know. So I like the managing of like that aspect of it. Like I like keeping track of all of it and like owning my own schedule. I don't totally know if I take the leap to create my own studio, because everyone who has studios that I know is just working all the time. So I think you don't have to do it that way, but I quite like being on the tools. I'm not really pining to be a creative director at the moment or anything. I'm happy to be like a senior artist. So that works pretty well.
There's a good way you can market yourself too, if you want to be able to have that pull, because there's two ways of looking at it. There's those clients that want to hire a contractor, and then there's those clients that want to hire a, whatever you want to call it, an agency or a I don't know really what you would call it, but
it's almost about like amount of responsibilities, right?
Yeah,
right.
So if the studio is willing to have the responsibility of like being the art director and like giving critiques and stuff like that,
right,
totally, they could hire like a freelancer. But if they're looking for someone to actually take the job and go full on, you know, that's a whole nother thing. Maybe more looking for a studio.
Yeah, Territory's going to be looking for contractors, not other studios.
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But a B2B, if a business comes to you and they're like, "Oh, we need this thing done," and they see, "Oh, well, you're an animator, but like we need someone to handle the whole project." You can be like, "Oh, well, I am a business too. Here's my corporate website." Do it both ways. Why not? Why not have a corporate name and a contract name that you can just use to market yourself either way to get business? And I mean, you can do it all under the same name in the background.
Totally. And I think there's a lot of really positive work done by like Haley Atkins, or Atkins. She does. She's really good out here, and people share her kind of videos all the time. But she gives a lot of really good advice on kind of direct to client work, and Chris Do as well. And obviously I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's doing that project 200K, where he's trying to make Austin Saylor, I think it is. Yeah, Austin Saylor.
Yeah.
So did you hear about him? He did a project last year called Project 200K, and he wanted to see if he could make $200,000 as a freelance motion designer in 1 year. And
you can do that.
Yeah,
I know you can do that.
Yeah. So it's just interesting following these people, because when you're kind of online, you can see just how other people are doing things and what's working for them, and it's becoming a lot more transparent, I'm finding, with stuff like that. Like you get that whole like Mograph paid me hashtag at one point, and you can see like what people are making all over the world, and it just gives you like I don't have to be like Ash Thorpe or G Monk to like make really good money. You can see that, and it just gives you confidence, because I think designers generally we can lack confidence, because we think, we want to please everyone, but we don't always we're not always in our own corner.
I think one of the big hang-ups. Oh, this is okay. I know who Austin Saylor is. I recognize his picture now. It comes up in my people you may know on Facebook constantly.
Okay.
But the thing is, I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the fact that like, oh, if I'm going to be this big contractor or whatever, and I'm going to be a famous artist, I'm going to put all my stuff on Instagram and get all these likes, that every project I do has to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, there are so many lucrative jobs that are for the meal out there.
Yeah.
Like, just
100%.
go get them. Like, you can bring in like easy like explainer videos that take you no time, and that people are like, okay, well, now we need like 50 of them, and you're like, shoot, I can knock this out in a week and make 50K. Like, come on. Like it is out there. It is out there. Don't feel like, oh, this is below me. Like, take some of that stuff. Like, there's people out there, just, there's so much motion design work. I'm just like, people who say that they can't get work, I'm like, network, talk to people. It will happen for you. Like, it will.
There's so much content that needs to be made constantly, and it was interesting because during the pandemic, it felt like, you know, some projects were stopping, but loads of other ones were going because people were just sat in front of their computer or their phone the whole time.
Right.
So it just doesn't stop, and I don't really know if it will. And I know there's obviously, like, you guys were talking a bit about like AI and, you know, that type of stuff. And, you know, you go on Twitter every day, there seems to be a new engine out there that's kind of like bringing up something else, and people are having lots of conversations about it. But yeah, it's interesting, just kind of how that will play a role in the future as well, I think.
Yeah. We forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, this is a short show.
Yes.
And not in a joking way like we usually do. You do have a hard out, so we just in a minute we'll take care of the Mograph recommend segment. But before we do that, though, I wanted to ask you, like, about some of the tools and stuff that you're using, and like engines and stuff. What are you currently using? Redshift, Octane? Physical?
Everything. I feel like it depends on the studio, you know. It's I use Redshift. Well, I use Redshift at Territory, and I learned Redshift at Arnold over there, and so I know those. I do use Octane from time to time, depending on the studio. But it just, you know, it, like you guys have said before, it just depends on the job, really. And there's so many great like tutorials out there. It's quite easy to jump on any of them, and they all have like interesting ways of, you know, going about things. So I use Redshift most of the time. I did a bunch of stuff a few months ago in Arnold, which was interesting. It's a bit of quite a while before I'd been in that, but I couldn't believe how it was just, there was a solution for everything in Arnold. It seemed like the workflow was incredible. But I was working on that, and I started getting into Unreal Engine a bit more. I find that it suits a lot of, I don't know about you guys, but I've been getting, most of the work I've been doing has been more VFX-y type work, where it's like,
done a fair amount of that,
yeah, it's like a lot of like mocap, Mixamo type. Well, it's like mocap and you know, mega scans and Substance Painter, texturing, Quixel Mixer, and Marvelous Designer, and all those. So I feel like since I've been freelance, my skill set has grown dramatically. Like, I'm actually running out of space on my bar at the bottom of the guitar. I think everyone has that issue after a while, you know. But
need an ultra wide.
Yeah, that'll fix it.
I do, yeah. I'm still have two monitors, but yeah, a bit of everything. I've you know, been dabbling. I was dabbling a bit in Houdini, and
as we all do.
As we all do. I think you dabble, and then you stop dabbling for a little bit just to like maintain composure, and then I think the problem I had with Houdini was that I was approaching it as like, I'm going to use this instead of Cinema 4D, you know.
Right.
I'm going to go into it. I'm going to learn it, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's basically changed. His name's Simon Russell, and he does a lot of like live motion graphics here in the UK. He works for like Elton John and stuff like that. But he has completely just gone Houdini, and I was like, oh, I'll do that. And then you just don't have a real direction when you do that, and it becomes very overwhelming. So I think I'll go back to it and just go directly into like Vellum and do some cloth stuff, and just I mean, to be fair, like when you look at stuff like Man vs. Machine and Future Deluxe, a lot of it, there's a lot of fluid stuff, but a lot of it's vellum and a lot of it's kind of like soft body dynamics and stuff like that. So I think that would be a safe kind of.
I don't know, that 26.1.
Yeah, I was gonna say that 26.1.
EJ's presentation was good. Yeah,
right.
It was nice. Those are some silky smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, and
bits.
he didn't actually like promote the fact on Twitter before that the stuff he was showing off was actually like not Houdini. He's just like, oh, I've been dabbling in Houdini as a joke, and he was showing the cinema stuff. People were like, oh yeah, that's badass, and it's like, no, you realize that this is actually Cinema 4D, right?
Yeah.
Like this stuff here, this is pretty low res, but I mean, this stuff that he was showing, you would think that was Houdini right off the bat, right?
Yeah,
like
that right there.
Yeah.
You would never be able to get that in a previous version of C4D with that twist.
Yeah.
Like 2 frames in and it would just explode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that.
It's really nice. Yeah. I think the cloth engine's actually pretty good in cinema. I kind of go back and forth between X Particles and the cloth engine in cinema, and I find cloth in cinema is actually really good, and it's a lot faster, I find, as well.
I used it over X Particles for sure.
Yeah. I find I like X Particles and I use it when I can, but if it's too heavy, then I'll always have to find a different solution. But
I love X Particles. I use it all the time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when we were at Territory, it was part of the main tool set. To kind of give everything that kind of like scanned LiDAR look. Yeah, we use it all the time. But
the new what is it, Taio or something like that? The tree generator stuff is insanely cool, and it's surprisingly easy to use. Like so much easier than doing branching in X Particles.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like way cool to use.
I haven't used it yet because I use Forester. Yeah. Does it how does it handle like thousands of trees?
I don't know. I haven't done thousands of trees.
Okay.
But,
that's mostly what I've been doing is like basically.
If you're wanting to grow them really easily, it's basically just you get your finished product and then you do a slider. It's all just a slider. Mm-hmm. It's super easy.
I like sliders.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Sliders are my friend. Yeah.
Grant is saying, he's waiting for it to become GPU. Yeah, like I think once everything is GPU, I think some stuff is GPU and X Particles right now, right?
Yeah.
But once it's all, oh my gosh, like the particles themselves.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing with like liquids. Like I don't do liquids, because of how difficult it is in X Particles. It just takes so much longer. But the GPU stuff, man, it's like once that happens, it's like, all right, gonna be even more. It's so hard when you learn X Particles to want to flip over to Houdini and be like, but I already know this. Why do I need to learn like Pop Solver and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Where do my nodes go?
Yeah. I mean, I did find like Intagma to be really helpful, but it was always the Vex like adding the codes and to that.
And
that was
their stuff is a lot of like instructional, but there's no why behind it. Sometimes I feel like set this to 4, set this to 3.6, and then do this, and you have to pause it and do those things, and you're like, I don't know why I set that, but
my
attributes are like the thing that screws me up a lot. It's like P scale, CD, all this other stuff. I don't quite understand it. P funk.
Yeah.
Psychedelic and the P funk.
I think because I was working in it almost every day for like 3 months and or like trying to get into it, and then I watched a presentation by the guy who developed MOPS, the motion operators, like basically like the cloners and all that stuff, and he was talking about how he had to do things just to create like motion graphic type stuff beforehand, and when I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, like I don't know, I need to put this down for a little bit because it was so complex how you just do simple things with motion graphic type stuff before that. But it was it's an amazing program, and I think they're really doing a I think they're really trying to target the Mograph crowd.
Right.
So I assume it will get easier over time. I think they'll make it.
Well,
a bit
they
more.
have the shelf tools and all that to help with some of that, but like it's like sometimes it's like, I need a hammer to fix this problem, to hit the nail. Sometimes you don't want to have to build the hammer before you use the hammer.
Right.
So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like what's that Carl Sagan quote? To make an apple pie, first you must invent the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny.
Yeah. So Houdini, gonna put that on the back burner for a bit, but Unreal now has been kind of the fun. You can make a lot of progress in Unreal, I find, and it's if you're doing something that has a lot of like traditional animation, like motion capture and stuff like that, it's amazing tool to use, and clients go wild when you say you're using it. So
yeah, it's just a buzzword. You should just tell everybody. We should all do that. Just say we're using Unreal, but we're not.
Yeah. Unreal and Houdini for everything.
Yeah, until they ask for changes and want you to re-render that out.
Yeah.
It's like,
another
3 days on that.
But that's the thing about Unreal is usually if you really want it to look like an Octane render or a Redshift render, it's got to actually render. So, it's not real time like everybody thinks it is. Ask Jags.
Yeah. I had did you guys see Love, Death and Robots, the latest? Yeah.
Not the latest, no.
I've heard it's
the
good.
original.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, there was the newest one. They had an episode, I think called The Swarm or something like that, but it was built in Unreal. But one of the guys that worked on it, he did a lot of the effects for it. He and I worked together in LA, and he basically said it was all done using the render engine in Unreal. So it actually renders. Wow. It's not a real time render engine, So it'll take a couple minutes of frame still sometimes, depending how heavy the scene is. So I think that's
Unreal what I don't get. Like, why would you just design? Okay, it's like, I'm going to design everything, and I'm going to do it all in Unreal, and then I'm going to render in Octane. Why don't you just stay in Cinema?
Right.
It's a question I think a lot of people are asking themselves, and it makes the most sense right now, I think, in the kind of the music, like if you're doing like live visual type space, like if you need to be able to control this, like if you need to move cameras around or something like that, or need something to like tune with the music, then it's a really good program for that. There's also what's the other one? It's basically just for live
Touch Designer?
No, it's
for live visual stuff.
Yeah, it starts with the N. Notch.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Notch is like made for live visuals, and I worked with a guy here that. And if you're a Notch artist, it's actually pretty cool because there's not a lot of them, but you get to travel around with bands quite often. So you build out like these shows all real time, and then you go around with the band, and sometimes you send them to like the programmer on the set. But if you love music and love traveling around, like there was a guy who's working on the Ed Sheeran show that I worked with here, and he was every couple days he'd be in a different part of Europe, in the backstage, and I thought that's pretty cool. You don't really get to get out of your office very often when you're doing motion, so having a chance to do that is nice. So, but
it's all right for a while.
Yeah.
After about a decade of traveling around doing that, I can testify that you get a little tired of traveling, but.
Totally, yeah. I think maybe if in like a season it's okay, but
like one tour,
Yeah, that's right. One show. That's it. Yeah.
But speaking of music and speaking of TV shows, let's do Mograph recommends before we run out of time with you here. So we talked briefly about shows. Are there any shows in particular right now that you're really liking? Something that, and these are either like all-time favorites or just recent favorites.
Sandman is good. I actually worked on that. That was my last.
Nice.
One of the last shows I worked on. I worked on it a couple years.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a fun show. Good visual effects. Yeah, it's a good kind of like. Feels a bit like witchery, except not as serious. So that's a really good one. I recommend checking that one out. Yeah. So I think that's a solid one.
How about movies? Any good ones lately?
Lately, I don't know.
Or all time?
My all time is Braveheart. So
it's a good movie.
No one can dethrone Braveheart. I mean,
not historically accurate, but it's a fun representation.
I know. In Scotland they have a statue that was built after the movie, and it looks like Mel Gibson. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah, they all the locals think it's kind of funny, but everyone visiting it's like, this is amazing. So yeah.
And what about music? I mean, you're doing stuff for visuals and stuff. What do you like listening to?
I get made fun of a bit in the house because I listen to a lot of like ambient electronic music, and my wife says it's like elevator music. So I listen to a lot of that, and
talking like house or chill hop or EDM, like
lo-fi.
Oh, the lo-fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's unbelievable the amount of recommendations I get on YouTube now of like different lo-fi chill kind of YouTube groups. But yeah, I listen to that, and I've also kind of been getting a bit nostalgic and going kind of like 2003, like Alien Ant Farm and Incubus, and some of the stuff that we listened to when we were in high school,
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're high school. I was a little bit younger I was a little bit older than you.
yeah. So.
And Matt was listening to ska. So.
Yeah, I still listen to ska.
Which bands?
Real Big Fish. I'm a big fan of the Mad Caddies right now. Love myself the Mad Caddies. The Interrupters are good. Good stuff right there. Mighty Mighty Boss Tones just came out with a new album, but that guy, the lead singer, he's a big Trump supporter, so we don't listen to them in our house anymore.
Good, yeah.
All these names. It's like
It was funny actually. I worked with people on the Biden campaign. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, what studio is working on the Trump campaign? Because there's definitely a studio in the States that's working on it. And I was like, they're probably like maybe in the South or something. Maybe you guys know. You're in Texas, right? So,
or, maybe it was a big studio. They just weren't announcing that they were working with the Trump campaign.
That's true. Yeah, because I'm sure loads of money went into that. So, yeah.
Loads of money got funneled through them somehow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
These ska bands, man, like the Fake Florists.
Is that a real band?
Yeah, and the downstairs neighbors. I'm just making things up.
Making them up.
Yeah.
I love ska. It's such like a Southern Cal. It makes me feel like I'm back home sometimes when I listen to ska. Like a little bit of Sublime's not really ska.
It depends. They've got that reggae feel, and ska and reggae are kind of like a spin-off from the same roots and stuff. Yeah. So
it makes you feel warm, and I feel like in England I need it. So
Do you listen to any podcasts?
Yeah, I listen to Joe Rogan a bit from time to time, depending. I mean, it's gotten a bit. It's gotten a bit.
Depends on the show.
Yeah, I kind of I like listening to him so much, and then there was a point when I stopped because I found he was sharing a bit too much of his opinion, and it was obviously getting a bit funky. But
you watched the Beeple episode?
I did actually. Yeah, it was interesting seeing him on there. It was kind of surreal,
right?
And seeing him on on Late Night with Jimmy Fallon as well. It was insane. Like I met him at Siggraph for the first time when I met you guys, and I was just like, this is insane. Like, I can't believe I know someone that's on the show.
It's so weird.
But most of the time the Mograph podcast, of course.
Well, of course,
Yeah. No, I do listen to you guys most of the time, actually. So yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm glad we got one listener.
The rest are just bots.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What about plugins? Not render engines. You can't say render engine. That's the rules that I just made up just now. Plugins, whether that's Xparticles or some obscure thing that you always use on a project because it's there. and it helps.
I think with cinema, I kind of use like the standard ones. After Effects is the one where I have these like ridiculous like comp sorting plugins where I can rename stuff, and Immigration is like a really good one for importing image sequences and updating image sequences if you have loads of those, which is really nice. And I think those are probably the After Effects ones. I mean, you just need loads to get After Effects to do its thing, these days. So.
It's just a container.
Oh, man.
It is, yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I bought AEC4D the other day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I lived without it. Like, being able to export nulls and stuff like that, and cameras and lights and all that other stuff, it's better. It's the way cinema should do it.
Cineware.
Instead of Cineware, I mean, just being able to be in your project, say click, and then it exports right to your composition. Like, that's so simple.
So it's basically just like
bake stuff out so that it doesn't like wobble all over the place if it's in a null and a null and a null.
Oh, okay. Like a camera, it'll actually bake all the frames and.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, dude. It was only like $40. Perfect. So worth it.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll check that out. Yeah, it's good shout. Yeah.
What's your go-to app on your phone? What's your muscle memory? Always open.
Well, I work with a lot of American clients, so it's usually the currency exchange app. So I check when to transfer stuff, but usually it's WhatsApp generally, because my family has a family group that I talk to them when they wake up, and so I'd say WhatsApp probably. Yeah.
Grant asks, is it like Overlord?
It is.
IE AI to AE,
Basically, it's just you've got a screen and you can drag stuff in, as external compositing tags or cameras or whatever, and you hit an export button, and if your After Effects is open, you can tell it to bring it in that comp or start a new comp. It's absolutely insane. It's so good. Like, the fact that I've been sleeping on that one forever is just like, stupid.
Yeah.
Thomas says.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Oh no, Thomas said he bought that plugin and questioned everything about his workflow.
100%. 100%. Yep.
God. I know, it's funny. I was telling Thomas. I know two Thomas Collier or Colliers, but one is Collier and one is Collier, and I swear to God, I will never get the two of them right because they have the same name. What are the odds? The next one in the list is video game. Do you play any video games?
I play I probably play one a year. I think I probably get into one a year or so. But Frostpunk was like one of the last ones I played. Have you guys played that one?
I haven't even heard of that.
It's like a survival city building game where the world is basically freezing over and you have to save this town by building all this infrastructure and industrial. It's like a steampunk kind of look, but it's really cool. You have to send out like little groups. I like RTS kind of real-time strategy, like Command and Conquer type games when I play them. So yeah.
Stray is pretty good if you haven't played Stray. I heard a rumor that multiplayer is coming, and I put it up on the TV before the doors opened at Siggraph, just to have. It's very calming. Just the cats just chilling. You can hit the Alt key and they'll meow every once in a while. But I recommend that game. It's very chill and it's fun to just like sit back and Yeah,
it looks cool.
Here's a tough one. Favorite life hack, and Mitch Meyer says turn the toaster on its side for some bomb-ass grilled cheese. Now, this could be something like useful or funny or, novel. It doesn't matter. Do you have a life hack for us?
My life hack, I think one of the things I'm most happy about doing lately is I bake my own sourdough bread. And I kind of got on that bandwagon with the old COVID lockdown, and I will never buy bread again. I just won't do it. It's so easy to do it now. So I'd say it's not really a life hack. It's more of a life suggestion, I think. So
I like that. Life suggestion.
Yeah.
Yeah, a life enhancer.
Pickle Nick was doing that too through COVID, doing the sourdough, and you have to keep it going though, right? Isn't that the thing?
Yeah. I eat a lot of bread. I probably eat two loaves a week. So yeah, it's good. And yeah, we have that, and it's quite easy. I've simplified the process. So yeah.
Cool.
It's good.
Oh, this just in. Looks like I won.
I was gonna say.
I won in the Get Baked and React contests and giveaway. I got one of David's pieces, so that's pretty cool.
That's good.
I have to watch the videos. He's got all these videos posted. I'll watch them.
Oh my gosh,
after the
he
show
posted one of him getting baked and watched something, and it is hilarious.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, looks like. Oh man, there's a whole thread here. I'm gonna have to catch up after the show. It's too much. I got too many notifications. Oh my gosh. That's.
Dog's just walking all over the place.
I know he is. Come here. Getting my come here. Okay. There we go. Yeah. he was getting tangled up. I was like, oh, he's gonna hit my computer or turn something off.
Or do like Matt's animals do sometimes, is you go to pet them and it like shuts off your computer or something.
Yeah, back when I had bad grounding, I would pet the cat. It would shock me, which would then send a signal through the rest of my computer and just shut it all down.
Yeah.
So weird.
Good stuff.
What is it? He's my new colleague. This is my new work from home colleague. So we just chill.
Can't see him. Lift him up higher.
Yeah. Oh, that's a big boy. It's a big good boy.
He's a chonky boy.
Chonky boy. Cool. Cool. Well, we appreciate you being on, man. I know you're short on time or whatever, so you know, is your mic still good? You still good?
I think,
yeah, you're good. You're good.
Right.
Yeah.
It was red for a second, so I was like,
right.
Them dogs. Yeah, we really appreciate you being on, and you know, taking time to chill with us. You know, get away from the contract work.
Yeah, it's good to catch up with you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If people want to find you online, where can they find you?
I'm on Nick Lyons TV on Twitter, Instagram, and
Lyons.
Lyons, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, happy to answer any questions or anything.
Cool. We're going to get out of here. You can rate us on iTunes, leave a review. Also, subscribe on your podcatcher of choice. Help get our ratings up. Subscribe to our newsletter. You can say you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with the Mograph logo tee, the Paul Babb, Feel the Babb 2020 shirt, all the profits from that go to Doctors Without Borders, the Render Things t-shirt, hoodie, and long sleeve tee, Mograph blandishment shirt, and then, of course, the That Render is Fire shirt, which you're only allowed to wear ironically, unless you're Shams.
Did you get Shams That Render is Fire shirt?
Oh, I should have done that. I did get to hang out with her for one day, but because she's in Vancouver.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should send her a shirt for sure, or bring one to camp, because she's
bring
gonna
one
be
to
at
camp. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're on YouTube, mograph.com. Check us out there for all the info, show schedule. Make sure you get Mograph TV going. Turn it up, rip the knob off, and also come to these events coming up.
Yep.
Come to Half Res and come to Camp Mograph. Columbus. Come to Columbus this week. Come say hi and do a little mixer and things, and let's talk about AI and NFTs and all of that fun stuff. So.
Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, I guess that about wraps it up. We're going to get out of here. Until next time, I'm Dave.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Nick.
Have a good one.
Later, yo.